You are listening to episode 3 of the Entrepreneur Happy Hour with our guest, Alison Brown. Alison Brown is a personal image consultant and social marketer. She comes from a corporate HR and a health and well-being background, but now she helps women to look, feel, and be the best version of themselves. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Denise. This podcast is for entrepreneurs. Whether you're just getting started or working your business part time or just looking for some inspiration, each episode you will hear the incredible stories of entrepreneurs from around the world. These entrepreneurs are subject matter experts in their niche. Want to show off your fan status? Make sure you're subscribed to the show so you can be one of the first to listen to my latest episode, which starts right now. So grab your favorite beverage and let's talk about business.
Yes, my name's Alison Brown. Um, I've been in business for myself for nearly 20 years now. From quite an eclectic career, I've been in HR, finance, but more recently, I branched out into the world of entrepreneurship in the health and wellness industry, and I set up a yoga, Pilates, and therapy studio and loved that for 16 years. And then I sold it to follow my passions for helping women look and feel fabulous from the inside out. And that's what I'm concentrating on today. I'm home based now, whereas obviously I used to have a bricks and mortar business, and there's sides to both. So it's been quite an interesting transition. My image consultancy is called Arakira Image, and Arakira is the goddess of blossoming and change, which is why I developed that name. I also have an online social marketing business in the health and wellness industry too. So that's a little bit about me. I live in the UK on the south coast, right by the ocean, as you call it. We call it the sea. And it's very beautiful here, but a little bit chilly today.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit more about your background and about yourself. I know today we're talking about sharing your expertise. And the first question that I have for you is why do you think sharing your expertise and mentoring is important for small business owners and entrepreneurs?
Well, I think it's important that we all pay it forward. And I think when you've been in some kind of business for many, for even several years or just a few years, I think it's such a steep learning curve that I think it's important that we share our knowledge and things that we've been through. I think often small business startups, even if they're a completely different industry, they can have the same issues. And I think everybody struggles a bit with certain aspects, and I think if I can be of any help with anything that I have knowledge of, then I'm happy to pass that on. And I think if we all do that, even if it's just a small amount, we can help other business owners and business startups get off to a really good start, and hopefully with our with our hindsight, we can be their foresight and help them across some of the hurdles that we all face, particularly as female business owners.
Wonderful. I'm glad you said some of the things that you just said. My next question for you is a little more specific into what you were just talking about. So I want to ask you, what have you done in your business or your time as a business owner to share with or mentor others in your field? Can you elaborate on that a little more for us?
Yeah, I can. For many years, when I had my health centre, I had a good number of teachers and therapists who were really transforming their lives to come out of very different careers, quite often very different jobs, and becoming or being part of an industry where it's all about helping people feel better, and recovering from illnesses and different conditions and things. And I did support a lot of those people in that transition phase because I'd already done it. So from coming from a job to being self-employed in that industry. So that was what I did then. Now it's not so much of people who are in the styling industry, but I do quite a lot of face-to-face networking. And I meet a lot of women who are maybe transitioning from a paid job, a corporate, to a self-employment. And things come up in the conversation about marketing, about what to do with certain financial issues, how to deal with leases, all the things that I've done before. And I just pass on what I have the knowledge about for that particular person. So that's one side of it. For my social marketing business, we mentor anybody that comes to join us, because it's a whole part of the business model. So it's a package that people get when they join us, which is our mentorship until they're ready to go alone. So it's kind of been woven into my my working life really for many years in different forms. Even in my corporate, it was part of what I did. So I just sort of do it naturally, I think, as I'm meeting people.
Okay, wonderful. Um, so with you saying the way one of your businesses is structured and the way you all provide support to each other and all of that, I am wondering, are there any books or other resources that have helped you um, along your journey as an entrepreneur, small business owner, that you would recommend to others?
Well, I mean, it's just huge. I've been a lifelong fan of all kinds of personal development. It's been huge part of my life. And I recommend that. I always recommend, because it was recommended to me, reading 10 pages at least of a inspirational development book every day, and build that into some kind of habit. One of my favorites is this one called, I don't know if that comes out back to front, but it's called Grit.
Great.
I don't know if you've read it, by Angela Duckworth. It's a great book, and I think it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it just teaches you those really fundamental tools about sticking with it, and being the best version of yourself, etc. And then I think it's great to follow the people that you admire in your industry. So autobiographies or biographies about those people that you admire, and industry relevant books, podcasts, YouTube clips. I always have something on when I'm getting ready in the morning, when I'm doing my makeup or washing up, or sometime when you can't sit with a book. I think it's nice to have something going on in the background or something to watch. And, there's so much inspiring material out there. You've only got to put one thing in YouTube, like Oprah, or or somebody that you admire, and it gives you that feed for many, many others. And if there's any Australians watching, or any nationality really, this one, it's called The Chillpreneur, by Denise Duffield Thomas. I've read that again recently, and it's absolutely brilliant about managing your time and not having to feel that you've got to be absolute superwoman and run yourself into the ground, to have a successful business. And that's what we all do. We think there's this to do, there's this to do, there's this to do, we have to keep going, we have to keep going, we have to keep going, and then we're exhausted and we can't be effective. And that is a really good book if anyone's watching who has that same kind of feeling of kind of like, oh, I can't do it all. It just puts it in perspective. So yeah, read a bit, listen to a bit, get some stuff on in your car when you're driving, if you're on your own. It's a good place to learn rather than just listening to music. And yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there, little
Oh,
and often.
definitely. Oh, definitely. I appreciate that. Those are two books that I have not heard of. So thank you for recommending those. I'm going to pick those up because I'm always looking for ways to improve myself, not only professional development, but personal
Yeah,
development as well. And one of the things that I've been doing, that I started doing at the last quarter of last year, are blog challenges where I challenge my followers on a particular topic. And so for this first quarter of 2020, we're talking about goal setting. And you were talking about, there's so much on our list and so much to do. One thing that I have found that works for me, I'm a list person. So having that list is wonderful, but I don't necessarily put a timeline or a date on my list anymore. Just, I need to get these. Well, I may have a timeline, but not a deadline. How about that? So I
yeah,
have this list of things to do, but so not to stress myself out. It would be great if I can get it done within this time frame, and that helps me to not stress as much.
yeah.
Being a mom and an entrepreneur and heavily involved in community work and all of that, I've got so many irons in the fire. So I am looking forward to the book you recommended. I think it's called Chillpreneur.
Chillpreneur, yeah.
I am looking forward to reading that one, but also Grit. Grit is something that you definitely, just before reading it, you need to have to be an entrepreneur, right? You
Yeah,
gotta have that, like,
yeah.
stick with itness, if you will, and you don't easily give up, and you want to continue to grow and succeed in what you're doing. So I appreciate those recommendations, and I have a one question for you, but it's kind of twofold. How much time do you dedicate to mentoring others? If you had to give an estimate, but then also how much time do you dedicate to being better, if you will, so that you can properly share with and mentor others? I know you talked about trying to have something going on in the background and different things like that, but how much time would you say, estimated, that you dedicate to mentoring others and that you dedicate to improving yourself?
Um, I think a lot of women are givers, and we, obviously we want to be of service to others. Most of us are in a service business of some sort, and that's what we do naturally. But we have to protect ourselves as well. So I don't. I only, in my day-to-day life, I would only offer help if I'm asked. Obviously, nobody wants things pushed at them. I am conscious of the time that I give, so I've got enough left over to keep my reserves. So it's very difficult for me to put a time on the general mentoring. So it really depends. I mean, I wouldn't say more than 2 or 3 hours a week, really. Even in my social marketing business, when I've got new team members, obviously we want to empower people as soon as possible to be, creating what they want to do. So it's just that little, almost like being there if you need them. I think that, so I would say sort of maximum of 2 or 3 hours a week, something like that. If I was asked to be part of a particular program, or there was somebody who would benefit from longer, then obviously I would find a way. I mean, I'm lucky because one of the things that we become business owners, particularly home-based business owners, is so that we have that choice of when and where and how we work. So you can usually put something to one side and maybe free up some time. But again, I'm mentoring in a different way. In my styling business, it might be that somebody comes back to me after a styling session and says, oh, what do you think about this? Will this suit me? Will that work? And that kind of thing. So, there's that kind of mentoring as well. So it really depends on the person. But I think it's any giver out there, we have to protect ourselves and never overgive, because then you don't build those reserves that you need to take care of your own business and also take care of families and other responsibilities that you may have. Does that answer
Okay,
your question? Is
that
that, yeah?
does. That
Sorry, I
does. And
felt like I waffled then, but
no, no. And that kind of leads us to the next question, which is a bit more personal and deeper, if you will. Do you feel like you are right where you need to be with this area of mentoring and sharing your expertise with others, or do you think there's room for improvement? And just explain a little bit. And that's kind of where our conversation was going just now. Um, so if you don't
yeah,
mind just sharing a little more with, do you feel like you're right where you need to be, or do you feel like there's room for improvement, and kind of elaborate?
both really. Finally, as I said right at the beginning, I've had a pretty eclectic career, and I've been blessed with building on the knowledge from one to the other to the other. And I've done so many things, and I hit 60 last year, which was kind of a pivotal year for me. And after much kind of like thoughts about where I was and where I was going and what I wanted. And so I did lots. I'm working with a business coach myself, which I always recommend doing from time to time. I think it keeps you on track. So I'm doing that, and I'm getting. I've got more clarity, I think, and more focus than probably I've ever had before. Because I think when you have a pivotal birthday, sometimes you feel, not that I haven't got lots of years ahead of me, but you feel I haven't now got the same amount of time as I used to have to flit off here, flit off there, do this, do that, do the other. So that's brought a whole renewed kind of focus to where I'm at. So I know I'm where I should be. I'm following the path that I really am very comfortable, and in here I know it's the right thing to be doing. But saying that, I don't think there's ever a time where you should just sit back and not continue to grow. And that's why I like to work with an accountability buddy and a business coach. And just one thing I'd like to add to that, because it's taken a little while for me to really sort of absorb and get into here, is that just I should have added it on actually when we were talking about the personal development and the books and who to follow and things. There's so much out there, and there's so many people out there, and there's so many mentors online, and there's exciting things popping up all the time. And I think what is important, I've learned it's important to do, is find the main people that resonate with you, the people that you feel are doing you the most good, and just stick to, one, two, maybe three at the most, and put the others to one side. Because I think when you get information from lots and lots of different people, then it can become all a bit scrambled and it's kind of hard to decipher. So that's something I've learned really quite recently, and that helps with the sort of overwhelm, because there's nothing to say you can't go back to that, following that person later on, or reading those articles later on. But I think maybe where your business is going at the moment, have a really laser beam focus on that particular area. And when that is where you want it to be, and then focus, because I always used to think, oh, I need to get that done, I need to get that done, I've got to go there, and I'll go do a course for that, and I'll go to that workshop, and I'll do that seminar, and and you find that although I'm a believer in lifelong learning, you can have too much in one go. And I think it's important to find what works for you and then use it before you move on.
I just want to make sure that you get an opportunity to share just a little bit more about your business and how people can get in touch with you. So just let us know a little bit more about the name of your business, your social media handles, and how people can reach you on the web. I will make sure to also include that information in the show notes, so that folks can have it in print as well, if they want to reach out. So would you
Oh,
like to
thank
share that
you.
now?
Yes, so my business name is Aerocura Image. And I'm sure when you write that, you'll see the spelling, and that's the same for my Facebook and for my Instagram. Um, I'm under my own name on Alison Brown on LinkedIn, and obviously I've got my own Facebook feed. My social marketing business is with Arbonne, and that is, I mean, you can go onto the main Arbonne site, but it's just my name with the word Eastbourne after it, before Arbonne. But if I send them all to you, but if anyone watching has got any questions, or would like any more information, I basically, just as a very quick summary, I help women find the best colours that make their skin glow and their eyes shine, and that makes them feel confident. And then we look at your unique body shape, dressing for that body shape, and your lifestyle and your personality. I help women harmonise their wardrobe so it's quicker and easier to put outfits together and identify the gaps. I take them shopping. We look at makeup, skincare, nutrition, and whatever. Women go through so many changes in their life, and so many different, body shape changes, hormone changes, very different, times in their life. And sometimes what we look like and what we wear, we can lose our confidence and lose our way a little bit. So I try and guide those back so that they fall in love with their body and their wardrobe and how they look. And then for my social marketing, I teach and train people how to run their own health and wellness online business. So if that's something, and often and it's always alongside something that's a passion project, that they maybe need an extra income coming through, or to help that transition from paid work to setting up, a coaching business, or some kind of lifestyle business, which that's great, but sometimes we miss the paycheck, and something like I offer can help that transition.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that and for being a guest today. We appreciate it so much. And we are just sending positive vibes your way, that you are prosperous and successful in all of your business endeavors. And just want to make sure to add that, in case we do video for this podcast, folks, she said she was 60. She does not look it at all. So whatever it is that she's doing, if you need some consulting and all of that, I would say that Alison Brown is the person to go to, because I definitely would love for my skin to look as amazing and radiant as yours does. So thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. And the same wish for everyone listening. May your businesses thrive, and may you thrive as a beautiful woman.
Well, and that's it for this episode of the Entrepreneur Happy Hour podcast. If you haven't already rated and reviewed my show, leave your feedback. Do that today. Whether you're listening on iTunes, Google Play, or Spotify, your review shows off your fan status and helps other future listeners find this podcast. I love hearing from my listeners, and I would love to hear from you. Send me a note at hello@theentrepreneur.happyhour.com. Until next episode, I'll see you over on the Entrepreneur Happy Hour Facebook community.